Back in 1963, in a similarly racially electrified time as we're incomprehensibly living in today, well, the words of Malcolm X, they became solemn articulations of empowerment to Black America. Now, 61 years later, as we're about to show you in this incredible piece of video from earlier today on CNN, Malcolm X's words again spark debate, pain, conflict, and, in this case, utter chaos when they fall from the mouth of MAGA-loon Shelley Winter. Not that Shelley Winters, and certainly not that MAGA-loon. In all seriousness, let's check out this explosive segment as CNN News Central's host Sarah Sidner, pro-Trump radio host Shelley Winter, that one, and former DNC Vice Chair Michael Blake prove Malcolm X's words, the words that helped define the racial inequality in 1963, well, they're just as contentious today in 2024. And after this must-see clip, I'll run part of Malcolm X's pivotal speech from 1963, that speech that lives today to again help define these terrible and troubling times.
African American or Hispanic, and you know how well I'm doing there, that votes for Kamala, you got to have your head examined because they are really screwing you. They are really screwing you.
It is Kamala, for the record, but he is denigrating voters for making a choice that he does not like. Shelley, to you, what does he achieve with this?
Well, first of all, how is he denigrating voters?
He's saying that they are being, for lack of a better word, screwed.
Taken advantage of. They're being taken advantage of. They're paying higher pricing. They're working class, the ones that he's talking about, working class, lower middle class. They're paying more for food. They're paying more for gas, and they're being taken advantage of.
But
and
Shelley,
over the course of 30 years, they voted.
He also said that they had to have their head examined. That is not something that is a compliment.
Obama just told me the same thing. Obama just told me the same thing. I've got black women telling me I'm not really a. He inferred them. He implied them. He certainly did. He even threatened us with "You're lucky Michelle's not here." I mean, come on. Let's not make things up. Let's be honest here, and let's really be clear what's being said. If you're an African American man, look. Let me boil this election down in the African American community to a very simple a reference to great Malcolm X. This race is between House African Americans and field African Americans, and the field African Americans are going for Donald Trump. I'm talking about your men. I'm talking about your men who build, your men who put things together, your men who work with their hands, your men who do things, not the men who push paper, or the men who are connected to power and want to continue to be connected to power.
Are you denigrating African American men who are professionals who work in white collar jobs? Is that what I'm hearing from you, or
no?
I'm just trying to understand, is Shelley the House one or the field one? I'm just trying to understand that part. I'm just trying to understand. We have someone who's spitting. I'm just trying to understand the one that's spitting talking points right now. Are you the House Negro or the field Negro that you're referring to? So I just want to make sure. Your question was about denigrating black people. That literally was your question. You have a Republican fool who is talking right now about. You literally just said that black men. You actually just said this is an election about House or field. This is the nonsense that we are listening to right now by those that are supporting Donald Trump. That is actually what you just. There's only clearly you must be in your own talk. I'm not sure what kind of radio show you have that you can't listen to your own thing. So you actually just said.
For Trump.
Again, do you understand? You sound absurd and silly. And so let's actually talk about the substance of your question. The substance of the question was around denigrating. The substance of the question was denigrating black and Latino communities.
Sir, the substance of what I said is very clear.
My name is Michael. My name is Michael. And we thank you that. So the point here, the question that was raised around denigrating black and Latino communities.
All right, my brother, let me answer the question.
The concerning
Are you going to let me answer the question?
The concerning part.
Are you going to let me answer the question?
Shelley, you made the point saying that you made a point saying that you believe that.
The point I'm making, ma'am, Sarah, Sarah, the point I'm making is this. The men who get up every day and make things happen with their hands, they build things, they're plumbers, they're electricians, they're working for Amazon. These men who are coaching 7 and under football, not because their son or daughter plays, but because they want to keep brothers off the streets and they're volunteering their time. These men are going for Trump. These men, and I used an analogy made famous by the great Malcolm X. So if you're saying that I'm denigrating anybody, then you must assume that he was denigrating somebody. So don't even throw that word out there again, my brother.
So Michael,
the fact of the matter is that's what you're seeing in the black community.
Shelley,
so I'm not denigrating anybody.
We have heard the filibuster now. So the point yesterday,
I answered your question.
When Vice President Harris was in Detroit with Charlamagne the God, and we're talking about Detroit versus everybody. So the reference that was just made, he's essentially communicating that the people in Detroit and Milwaukee and Philly that are doing work, manufacturing jobs, putting in for their communities, are going to vote for Donald Trump, a man who has no policy, no support, who called for the death penalty on black men and has repeatedly been against us. So let's be abundantly clear. You have a choice. You can follow the rhetoric of someone who is literally calling you a house or field black man, or you can follow the black woman who was a DA, an AG, a United States Senator, a Vice President, an HBCU alum, a sorority sister who is actually helping black people. This is the decision you have in 20 days. To follow people like Shelley, who is saying this rhetoric. We've heard his filibuster.
How she help black people?
We could listen to Shelley or to Clarence Thomas.
Mr. Winter, you've had your point. I'm just trying to let both of you.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate that. Thank you, Sora. I appreciate that. So, like, the reality is this. You have a scenario right now where you have on one side a black woman who is saying, how do we help our communities? To your earlier question, Sarah, around how can you do both? On one side, you have Vice President Harris, who is articulating how we can help domestically and abroad. Donald Trump sent COVID tests to help Putin. So while your black families, house or field, referring to what Shelley is talking about,
that's misinformation, sir.
We're dying.
That's misinformation.
We're dying because of Donald Trump's policies.
That's misinformation.
You know, it's
that's
amazing.
Misinformation.
We will focus here.
We are going to leave this here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Blake, Shelley Winter, thank you both for joining us.
Why don't you correct the misinformation?
Have a good day
for joining us.
For your great show.
Yes, in a world of misinformation, let's all be abundantly clear. Trump is in Putin's pocket. But Shelley Winter did more in that segment than simply bluster irresponsibly. He picked a scab from a wound that seems to never heal. And what should be a parable from a distant, sad time that we're about to show you now, well, as we just saw, turns out this is today's headline news.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They'd send some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah. I'm a field Negro.